Hello and welcome. If you feel like the world is just off its axis right now, that you're living in this constant storm of chaos from global politics all the way down to the weather in your own backyard, you're not wrong, and you're definitely not alone. In this explainer, we're going to use the really precise lens of astrology, not to escape this reality, but to truly understand it, to ground ourselves right in the middle of it, and to navigate the immense changes that are already happening all around us. So, to start, let's frame our journey with a central question. This question, it's really at the heart of our entire conversation today, because that's exactly where we are, isn't it? We're on this cosmic roller coaster, we're strapped in, and we are absolutely heading for a major descent. Now, I don't say that to be frightening. It's a reality check. And believe it or not, understanding the mechanics of the ride is the very first step toward finding your calm in the middle of the storm. So really think about it. What do you need for comfort? The answer, as we're about to find out, is totally unique to your own cosmic blueprint. So here's our map for the journey. Think of this as our guide. We're going to start with the big picture, this global karmic storm, before zooming right in on America's surprisingly central role in this whole shift. Then we'll pinpoint the exact timing of what I'm calling the 2026 roller coaster. After that, we'll equip you with a personal compass for navigation. And finally, we'll look at the ultimate purpose behind all this chaos, which is, believe it or not, our collective evolution. Okay, let's begin by just acknowledging the elephant in the room, right? That feeling that everything is changing, it's wobbling, it's breaking apart. From international relations to the climate, the systems we all once just took for granted feel incredibly unstable. This widespread dysregulation isn't just in your head, it is a direct reflection of a profound astrological shift, a storm that's calling all of us back to a central truth. Now, what's so fascinating about this particular moment is that while everything in astrology moves in cycles, empires rise and fall, this isn't a news story. Our current era is different. It's unique. With 8 billion people on the planet, this constant assault of digital stimulation, and just unprecedented levels of change. The call isn't to expand our consciousness outward. Nope. It's to come home. It's to ground ourselves and to regulate our own nervous systems. The ancient wisdom, which is timeless for a reason, was never about escaping the storm, but about finding that unshakable calm right in the eye of it. So you're probably asking, okay, but why is this happening now and with such intensity? Well, to understand the global storm, we have to look at the birth chart of one nation in particular, the United States. Astrologically speaking, America has become a kind of center pin for the entire world. So when that pin gets pulled, the whole system has to recalibrate. And right now, that pin isn't just being pulled. It is being completely transformed by two massive, once-in-a-lifetime transits that are activating the nation's chart. The first and most profound transit is America's Pluto return. In astrology, a return is when a planet makes a full orbit and comes back to the exact spot it was at a specific moment. In this case, July 4th, 1776. Pluto takes 248 years to make this trip, so this is literally the country's first ever Pluto return. This transit, which really kicked off during COVID, is all about deep transformation. It's about revealing the underbelly of society, everything we've swept under the rug, and breaking down old rotten structures. So that collapsing trust in government, that sense that the old codes are completely broken, that is the signature of a nation going through the death and rebirth process of a Pluto return. But it doesn't stop there. At the very same time, America is also experiencing its Uranus return, which is an 82-year cycle. And this slide just illustrates the difference perfectly. If Pluto is the deep, slow, destructive force that kills off what's no longer working, then Uranus is the revolutionary shockwave. It's the planet of rebellion, of throwing the tea in the harbor, of sudden, radical change. So you've got Pluto dismantling the foundation from below, while Uranus is shaking everything up from the surface, demanding a radical departure from the status quo. These two forces combined? Yeah, they're creating the perfect storm. All right, now let's see how this all builds to the most intense phase of our journey. If the last few years felt chaotic, I want you to think of them as that slow, click, click, click climb up the roller coaster's biggest hill. Well, the period that starts in 2026, that marks the tipping point. It's the moment we finally go over the top and begin that steep, fast, stomach-in-your-throat descent. And this is where the astrological energies get incredibly focused and demand our full, undivided attention. This timeline maps out the energy shift beautifully. For the last couple of years, Saturn, the planet of structure and reality, has been moving through the watery, boundless sign of Pisces. That's created a dreamy, sometimes mystical, and frankly, sometimes escapist energy. But in February 2026, all of that changes. Saturn moves into Aries, the very first sign of the zodiac, all about fire, action, and pure assertion. That's when the ride truly begins. The peak intensity is going to hit in April 2026, before things finally start to slow down and ground out as Saturn enters Taurus in 2028, which will usher in the calm after the storm. Let's just pause on this number because it's staggering. 6 planets in Aries. Aries is the sign of the warrior, the activist, the pioneer. It is pure, raw, unfiltered, initiating energy. To have this much concentrated fire in one single part of the sky is incredibly rare. It's a cosmic call to action. This energy demands that we find the vitality to stand up, to say no to realities we will not accept, and to physically and energetically embody that warrior archetype, to take responsibility for the world we actually want to create. And happening at the very same time is another historically potent transit. Saturn, the planet of cold, hard reality, meets Neptune, the great dissolver of illusions, right at the very beginning of Aries. The last time this happened was during the American Civil War. This conjunction is going to present crises that force us collectively to confront what is real versus what is illusion. And it fundamentally challenges our definition of what a warrior even is. The essential question this transit asks is, how do you stand and fight with integrity when reality itself feels like it's dissolving? And this brings us to our personal toolkit for navigation. This brings us to the most practical and I think the most important part of this whole explainer. Look, knowing about the storm is one thing. Knowing how to navigate it is something else entirely. We're now shifting from the macrocosm of global events to the microcosm of you. The key to navigating this entire period is self-regulation, and thankfully, astrology gives us a brilliant map based on the 4 elements. Okay, this right here is your cheat sheet for compatible comfort. Every single one of us has a natural, instinctual way of dealing with stress, and it corresponds to these elements. The first step in regulating your nervous system is to just understand your unique operating system. Instead of fighting your natural instincts in a crisis, you have to learn to work with them. Give yourself the comfort you are uniquely designed to need. So let's apply this directly to your sign. We're going to start with the fire signs. That's Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Now, given that the dominant energy of 2026 is concentrated in fiery Aries, you all are going to feel this period the most acutely. It's like having a cosmic wind right at your back, making things feel both intensely demanding and incredibly energizing, all at the same time. For Aries, this is your defining moment. With Saturn, the planet of mastery, in your own sign, the call is for discipline. Your challenge is to channel your immense power with focus, and this is crucial, to finish what you start. For my Leos, this cosmic fire is your natural element. Prepare for an expansive, fun ride, especially as lucky Jupiter enters your sign mid-year, just amplifying your natural radiance and creativity. And Sagittarius, this energy fuels your love of adventure. It's a fantastic year for travel, for higher learning, and for speaking your truth. Just remember, the cosmos is handing you a megaphone, so use that voice wisely. Next up, the Earth signs. For you all, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, this period of fiery activism can feel a little jarring, but it also brings some amazing opportunities to apply all that energy in practical, tangible ways, especially after what has been a long period of disruption for many of you. Taurus, my friend, you can finally breathe a huge sigh of relief. After 7 long years of Uranus, the great disruptor, shaking up your world, he finally moves on. This is your time to return to the comfort, the stability, and the sensuality that you crave. For Virgo, the relational pressure is officially off. Saturn has been opposing your sign, creating some serious challenges in partnerships. That cycle ends now, and it brings this feeling of relief and a new openness to connection. In Capricorn, as a Saturn-ruled sign, you are built for this kind of pressure. You'll feel a productive tension from all that Aries energy. The key is to use it as fuel for completion and resist the urge to complain about the heat in the kitchen. And now for the air signs. Your world is one of ideas, communication, and relationships. This fiery period is going to spark some major changes in your mental landscape and your social connections, and it's going to ask for new levels of commitment and intellectual courage. Gemini, as Uranus, the planet of revolution, enters your sign for a 7-year stay, you need to prepare for radical change and some incredible intellectual breakthroughs. You're being asked to completely reconsider the entire template of your life. For Libra, 2026 is a year of discipline, especially in relationships. Saturn will be opposite your sign, pushing you to do your least favorite thing. Make a firm decision and stick to it. You'll bring balance through commitment. And for Aquarius, a monumental 20-year transit begins as Pluto, the planet of transformation, settles into your sign for the long haul. This is going to prompt deep, profound psychological change, a slow and steady revolution from the inside out. And finally, the water signs. As the emotional and intuitive beings of the zodiac, you've likely been feeling these collective undercurrents for a long, long time. For many of you, 2026 brings a very welcome release from recent pressures and a chance to really integrate the lessons of the past few years. Cancer, after a year of major social expansion thanks to Jupiter, it is now time to settle in. The fiery energy of 2026 actually supports your career and public life, but your personal task is to just relax and integrate all that recent growth. Scorpio, if 2025 felt like a total slog, you are going to find 2026 to be a welcome change. You're emerging from a dark cloud of planetary pressure into a really palpable upswing of creative and romantic energy. And Pisces, you can finally breathe again. Saturn, the great taskmaster, has been in your sign for 2.5 years, a long period of pressure and maturation. As it moves into Aries, that weight is lifted and you are free. Okay, so having looked at the global picture and the personal picture, let's zoom back out one last time. What is the ultimate point of this intense, chaotic, cosmic roller coaster? The answer is so simple yet incredibly profound. The purpose of all this pressure, all this deconstruction, this massive call to action, is evolution. It's about polishing the collective soul of humanity. And this, right here, illustrates the core principle. You see, most of us are controlled by our charts. We react instinctively based on our design. But we don't have to be. Awareness changes everything. The moment you understand your patterns, your triggers, your high road and your low road, you can insert a conscious choice. You move from being just a passenger on the roller coaster to someone who truly understands the ride. Because life is not a courtroom where you are judged on your performance. It is a classroom where you are invited again and again and again to learn. So we end with this. This storm is not an apocalypse. It's a birth canal. We are moving through the darkest, most painful part to reach what many traditions have called a golden age. Yes, it's chaotic, it's loud, and it's messy. But in the midst of it all, we are being handed the ultimate choice. An old world is dying, a new one is struggling to be born. And in this transition, who do you choose to be?